Before we continue on to the remainder of the picks and predictions video, just wanted to let you guys know that audio is a little bit compromised moving forward. As you can see, we had some technical issues when recording this picks and predictions video. J-Wolf had to call in, and the program in which we used, and have always used to record here on the channel, was just buggy that particular day. We had to record this in 2 parts, which ended up putting us a day behind, which is why this is coming out right in the nick of time. So just wanted to quickly say that the remainder of the picks and predictions video, in the final parts, the audio is not great. Nothing was coming through my microphone. Everything was just coming through the backup recording, which was just my crappy computer / webcam mic. So apologies that the audio is not as good as it was in part 1 and in the opening segment of this video. We've addressed it. We're all good. And the remainder of the videos moving forward, streams, picks and predictions, as well as just everything that we post on this channel, will be better. Thanks for your understanding. Join us for the live stream later today, and back to the predictions. Moving up the card here, this is the intermission portion, and we won't dive into this too much because this is a longer video. This is a longer picks and predictions video because there's so many fights. But we have word that there's going to be 5 announcements, a minimum of 2 fight announcements, which is exciting, and then 3 pieces of news. That's what I've heard. Have you heard the same, J-Wolf?
Yes, that is exactly what I've heard. I've heard 2 fight announcements for the March card, probably the main event and the co-main event, or like a main event and then like a fight that already did, from the featured prelim or something, and then 3 big announcements. And I'm guessing. Can we say what our guesses are for those announcements?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even really have a pulse on it, so I want to hear yours.
Oh, okay. The main one, I almost guarantee you this is going to be one of them. They're going to officially confirm that the 2025 Flyweight Grand Prix is happening, that we've all been asking for it seems like years now. So that is basically what one of the main ones that I'm guessing is going to be. And then now let's go to my wish list or my pipe dream guesses of what I want it to be. Sugar Sean O'Malley is there. UFC champion Sugar Sean O'Malley is there in Japan right now. I thought he was going to go there to be cornering somebody, but just not on the show. We're talking about I should talk with you right now that he's going there just to do a show and just to make an appearance as a UFC fighter for like a fan thing, and they just did that tonight. We were as this recording. He was there doing a fan show and everything. But did you see the tweet from the RIZIN number 3 guy? He's either number 3 or number 4 guy, Sasahara. I don't know if you saw the tweet where he was talking about Sugar Sean O'Malley. I'm just gonna say it. There could be the pipe dream. The pipe dream is back on the menu, boys. We could get a UFC crossover fight in 2025. That's right. I just fucking said it. 100%. We could get a UFC crossover fight in 2025, and it could be Sugar Sean O'Malley. And that is directly because of Kaya Zakura going over to the UFC. That's what I'm going to say. Hopefully, one of the announcements is because Sasahara, number 3 at RIZIN, number 4 at RIZIN, put out a tweet talking about O'Malley has always wanted to fight in Japan and talking about possibly could be fighting in RIZIN one day. So it's like, man, I saw that. I'm just like, man, I was so happy. I was like, dude, the pipe dream is back on the menu. UFC crossovers are possible now, hopefully.
Well, I think as much as I want to believe, I still am going to hold true to the fact that Dana is never going to cross promote. But what I do think there's a possibility in is when the UFC goes to Japan, Saki Kabara-san and the RIZIN Co. maybe will allow some of the RIZIN fighters to fight on that card on like a 1-fight contract, right? Versus like a 3 to 4 fight contract that the UFC signs them in. So I would say that RIZIN might do like so it's cross promotion without cross promotion, right? So they're signed to the UFC. It's UFC fights because when UFC travels, they sign a bunch of people usually in regional areas. I mean, look at when they go to France. They've signed some French fighters who probably had no business being in the UFC, but they needed to like put some French guys on those cards. They do that often, right? They do that often, and mind you, they're the best they have to offer who've earned their spot. But still, it's kind of like, would they have signed you if you weren't going to that region? I mean, look at what they do with the UK and Cage Warriors. They always sign a new crop before they go back to London in the O2, right? We see that often. So I could maybe see when they go to Japan, when UFC, because UFC is going to go to Japan, they have a bunch of Japanese prospects now. They have that one grappler from Road to UFC. They have the winner from Road to UFC. They obviously have Kaya Sakura now. They have Tatsuro Tera. Like they have a lot of Japanese guys. And I mean, the last confessions, man, Kyoji, he said that he still wants to get that title shot in UFC eventually. Now, whether that happens next year or not, who knows? But long and the short of it, I can see the possibility of to conclude my thought here, I can see when the UFC goes to Japan, we see some RIZIN fighters be signed to the UFC, whether they stay there long term or not, and we have the unofficial RIZIN versus UFC.
Now, that is probably the most realistic take on how it could actually happen. But I want to go with the pipe dream because I saw Sahara's tweet. It said O'Malley wanted to fight in RIZIN, so I want to go with the pipe dream that O'Malley's going to be fighting in RIZIN against somebody.
Could you imagine O'Malley in a ring? Oh, dude, no, look at just for a sec. Everybody who's watching as well, just go down this road with us for a sec as I draw you this picture. Freaking O'Malley with the crazy tattoos and the Technicolor hair, right? With the white lights in Saitama or the Tokyo Dome beaming on that beautiful ring, right? And Sean O'Malley with the green glove, like it's such a crazy thing to picture because there's just too much color in that white canvas.
I mean, like, can you imagine his walkout?
Oh my god, dude! His walk, like he might have been kicked out of Japan if there's a little blunt smoking action too.
Somebody got told us, hey, don't bring your blunts over there. It's illegal.
Yeah, I mean, look what's going on with Kimura right now. We won't get into that, but yeah.
Kimura and Ensign in a way. There's going to be 3 announcements and then 2 fights, right?
Right,
so
right.
Let's just, so we got one more announcement. So remember the first one, pretty much guaranteed. I don't want to guarantee, but I think it's better, more likely than not, that one of the announcements is going to be about the Flyweight Grand Prix that we've been asking for years. And then, I want to say the second one would be a pipe dream of a UFC crossover bout with O'Malley. And then the third one, this is what I want to also go out on a limb here because, King K1 has been having problems, and they just got their new replacement CEO guy, Carlos. He just stepped down, and they're having a fight for the broadcast rights, all that stuff. So it's a mess over at King K1. So could they possibly be up for? What if? Because this is what I'm thinking. What if they've got bought out? What if they have to rise at bottom? What if they rise at bottom and was like, hey, we're just going to bring King K1 into the fold, and because they do kickboxing, they have kickboxers all the time, crossover from King K1 all the time. So.
Whoa! You know what just came to mind? If the RIZIN landmark shows become, I guess maybe not the landmark shows, but something like the landmark shows where they do maybe, mostly K1 kickboxing sprinkled in with like some MMA prelims or postlims, right?
Well, I would think that they would just keep the King K1 brand and just Sakaki Barson would just be in charge of running King K1 as well as RIZIN.
He does attend a lot of Crush shows, right? He does scout kickboxers, and he signed Tenshin's brother, Ryujin, from a Crush show.
Yes, exactly. There's like a synergy going on between those two companies. So I'm just throwing it out there as what one of the announcements could be, and like that's like what I'm hoping would happen because I love King K1. They have the real deal 8-man 1-night Grand Prix I just absolutely love, and the Epic Rise that they're going to announce a Flyweight Grand Prix for next year. They do it the Grand Prix the real way too for mixed martial art. They do the Pride style, Almighty Pride SC style, where they do 2 fights in one night for the final, and that's how you win the Grand Prix. So, they know what they're doing there. So, I think that'd be cool for Scotty Barson to rescue King K1, and then they could have that way all the kickboxing could be with King K1. And then for the RIZIN cards, instead of having kick bouts, they could do like the bare knuckle bout instead, right? Yeah. And they could fully, commit to the bare knuckle collaboration and get all those guys, and those would be on the RIZIN portion. And then for the kickboxers, those would be going to the King K1 cards. So
and they could maybe add some small gloves to the K1 cards, just kind of like one Championship's doing with their Muay Thai.
Yeah, like exactly like the match, remember?
Yep.
With tension and where they had Yama on there with open finger gloves.
Exactly.
So that'd be, I can see that easily happening. So that's what I think the 3 announcements. Well, we know the Flyweight Grand Prix is one of them, but the other 2 are like the wish list announcement type of a deal. So we don't know what those are going to be. And then the fights, I have really no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because like everybody is
on this card.
So what are they going to do? Are they going to just say, okay, then here, don't they do that? Don't they do that? What if they bring in some of the winners from tonight? Like what we were talking about with Kubo and Shadalayev and Yama and Dalbeck. What if it actually happens, but in the ring? And they bring them in there, like, okay, these guys are going to fight now for the number 1 contenders fight, and now Yama and Kubo will fight in the Strikers Delay match.
We'll see.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. No, it'll be. I mean, maybe they announce some new signings. Like maybe out of nowhere, like Pitbull shows up and is like, "I'm home. I'm home, bitches." Or
that would be sensational.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And you know what, man? Like I wouldn't put it past them to. And I don't think this is going to be an announcement here, and we'll continue here quick, folks. But like, how long is AJ McKee going to stay in Bellator and RIZIN? He only has a couple more fights on his contract, you know, and he loves Japan, and he's even said like, I'll stop when I want to stop, right? Like I have enough money now, like Bellator's paid me well. I have my other side businesses, right? I help my dad coaching and stuff. So like maybe AJ, basically PFL Bellator is going to lose their Bellator darlings, right? And I can see a lot of them either obviously going to the UFC if they're good enough, because the UFC is interested in Pitbull too. I'm just going to say Dana has actually said like, we are interested. And he's gone on the record to say that. And, you know, Pitbull's going to make more money in the UFC than he's probably going to make in RIZIN. But I think with his relationship with Saki Ubara and him, you know, actually cornering guys and going to Japan often, there's definitely that possibility there as well. So maybe we see like a random announcement of a signing that not as big as like a Pitbull, but someone who were like, oh, wow, didn't see that coming, but realistic.
How about Patchy Mix? That could be another one to throw in there. Don't throw the hat in the ring.
Let's be honest. If he's going anywhere, he's going to the UFC because he's arguably the best fighter outside the UFC, who's like UFC ready. Outside of Phil DeFree, who's the greatest heavyweight on the planet right now, and it's not even close. It's not.
They could talk more about the KSW collaboration,
or maybe just a heavyweight. Maybe just a heavyweight division. That would be nice, you know. Because realistically, they don't have a heavyweight division. They have heavyweight fights. There is no heavyweight division because there's no heavyweight title. There are just heavyweight fights. There is no heavyweight division. They need a heavyweight division.
You know, they were going to have Ueda go for the heavyweight title, but he lost to the Polish fighter.
Yeah.
So that kind of screwed up those plans for the moment. But maybe that's what's going to happen in 2025.
Hopefully.
They got to start filling out the heavier weight classes sometime. And now
that's what built
Bellator fighters on the market.
Well, that's what built pride. Heavyweight built pride.
That's right. Heavyweight and international fighters.
Yeah.
International fighters, and also, you know, of course, the Sakuraba and Gracie Killer and all that good stuff, and you know, he was a Japanese superstar.
Yeah, but man, they already have their fair share of Brazilians who are subbing guys left, right, and center. So they've restocked the shelves of international fighters. So both of those boxes are checked. The only thing missing is heavyweights.
Yeah,
that's the only thing missing.
They need heavier weight classes. Yeah. They need them, and that's where I think KSW will come in. So maybe that could be part of the announcements. Maybe something with KSW, because that was supposed to be happening too around this time. But I think the Dummy Don Davis fumble, where they fumbled the collab portion, that kind of screwed up everything, and so they kind of just put all those kind of plans, maybe push it to 2025. So maybe that's what the announcements are going to be about. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see. That's like, I look forward to the announcements. So almost like another fight.
Yeah,
it's just going to be cool to see.
Yeah, and let's be honest, we were underwhelmed with them on the last show, in the last landmark show. So like, we need them to make up for it in this one.
And I think they will, because it's a New Year's Eve show. So I'm guessing there's going to be pageantry. The announcements are going to hit like they should, like they should have for the last one, and I think they're going to hit this time good. So I think they're going to go all out, because it's a New Year's Eve and it's a decade show, and it's a saved show because it was, man, so many things happened. Dummy Don Davis fumbled the collab portion. Ryan Garcia got injured and ruined the boxing portion. I mean, it's even well, I'm sure we'll get to it here shortly, but the Seika Izawa fight, she was supposed to fight Striker Queen Reina, right? And Reina got injured. So now Seika Izawa is fighting a late replacement Argentine girl. But man, and that's why they brought in the breaking down versus rising deep fighters of the beginning portion, Team Mikio versus Team Hiramoto, to add some extra stuff to the card, because all the stuff that had fallen off and Sakaki Barasan, he just has a knack for doing this stuff, because remember that's how Pitbull and Chihiro 1 happened. Remember, there was injuries that were happened to that card. It was like Supervisor 2, I think it was. Injuries happened on that card, and they put Chihiro and Pitbull together to give that card a little extra, something, because I think, if I remember correctly, it's like Adrian Nakia injured with staph, and I think like one of the title belt got messed up or something. And anyways, but Sakaki Barasa just pulls rabbits out of the hat all the time. And this New Year's Eve decade card is a shining example, because it's just, man, fantastic bouts, fantastic matchups, and just making magic after where the rug got pulled out from under him, basically, with Dummy Don Davis' fumble. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I can't wait for the announcements, and man, it's going to be so fun. So, well, what's the next bout that we're talking about? We're talking appreciate your audience too. This is a lot of fun. I just love these shows. I can talk for hours with you. You know how I do. We love this. Your listeners got to understand. We love the epic RIZIN Superior rule set. So
I think they know, because all my other videos are like 10 to 15 minutes, and it's like boom, we drop a 2.5 hour RIZIN prediction show. So like.
Hey, when you love it, it's easy. The time just flies.
Absolutely.
It's just, that's how it goes. So, all right, what's the next bout on deck here?
This is the one that I'm most excited to see. Not necessarily because I think the fight will be the best fight on the card, but one of, if not the best Japanese prospect. And put it this way, Jay Wolf, if this prospect wins in this fight, he is solidified as the best Japanese prospect right now. And people are probably like, oh, like, what are you talking about? There's a couple guys in the UFC right now. Okay, if they're in the UFC, they're not prospects anymore, right? Especially if they're like, especially since they're like rising up the rankings. This guy has burst onto the scene this last year. I would say that he should win probably, like, I don't want to say fighter of the year in Japan, but if there was like an award that's somewhere along the line of like breakout fighter of the year, you have to award that to Kyoma Akimoto, especially if he wins, because he's taking on Yuki Motoya. And this is his biggest test yet. Now, Akimoto hasn't just been crushing cans, padding his record, and then boom, suddenly it's like, okay, now he's fighting Motoya. No. He has fought some decent guys in his very young MMA career. He's 18 years of age, finally moved up to 135 in his last fight. He was a string bean 125er before, but actually started to put on some muscle, put on some mass. 7-0 as a pro. He is... oh my God, like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. He is an excellent boxer. Like, stupid good technique for for his age, and only being in the ring 6 times going into that last fight, where his boxing was just, chef's kiss, man. Like, beautiful footwork, amazing job working, amazing job going high, going low, working the body, his combos that he put together, his speed, and he has power. 4 KO TKOs, 2 decisions. He said he was upset with himself in his last fight, despite absolutely dominating Hiroki Suzuki in his last RIZIN appearance. Despite absolutely dominating him, he was upset that he couldn't finish him. Now, Suzuki, durable guy. Right? Durable guy who came in as, pretty much a pure striker. Suzuki beat him the fuck up on the feet. Pieced him up. Showed that your kickboxing has nothing on my boxing in mixed martial arts, and was able to take him down with ease, get ground and pound, knock him down, almost finish him. Right? And he said he was upset that he was unable to finish the 40-year-old. The fight before that, Yuto Hokumura beat him with the grounded knee in the first round. Before then, in Fighting Agent War, he took on Yoshihiro Yamahina, who a very good and dangerous vet, right? 22 wins, 10 losses going into that one. So he's coming off 3 really good wins. I would say the Suzuki one, like we all kind of thought he was going to win in that one. But the Hokumura fight and the Yamahina fight were, solid veterans who've seen everything and who've, fought and derailed prospects in the past. Yuki Motoya is a different beast, though. Yeah, he's a lot older than him at 35 years of age. 36 wins, 12 losses, an impressive 3-2 in his last 5 fights, Jay. He beat Shinobu Ota, submitted him. I am not a fan of Ota. I don't think he's that good at all, to be perfectly honest. And those Japanese fans listening, I know he is an amazing wrestler, and I give him all the respect in the world for what he did on the international stage. But I'm sorry, he's a one-trick pony, and it's like at this point, learn some goddamn submissions, bro. So, anyways, Motoya beat him. Whatever, he did what he had to do, and he beat him with relative ease, which I like to see. Before then, he beat Sho Hiramatsu in deep. Had a great win against Vince Morales. Now, Vince Morales outboxed him, but Vince Morales didn't beat him all 3 rounds soundly. That was a very competitive fight. And yes, I think the right decision was made. I do think Vince Morales won that fight, but it was an awesome back and forth striking affair. And when Morales kind of slowed down, Yuki Motoya did a good job of mixing in the grappling, getting the dirty boxing going, employing the clinch up against the ropes and going into the corner and landing those short shots, right? He's a crafty vet. He's got decent grappling. He's got decent jiu-jitsu, but his boxing is great and he has good power. I mean, a year ago, he knocked out Kuzuke Teramashima in deep as well. And his only 2 losses in his last 5 fights have been to Vince Morales and, well, Kaya Sakura. So no shame in that at all. He's obviously the deep darling as he's fought, wait for it, 29 times in deep. He has 25 wins, 4 losses in deep, and a respectable 11-7-1 in RIZIN. He has 8 KO TKOs, 14 submissions. 14 submissions, 14 decisions, and he's fought everybody in RIZIN. He's fought everybody in deep. So this is the biggest test for Kyoma Akimoto. Like, Yamahina was a good test, but Yamahina, despite him being a jiu-jitsu guy, despite him having some decent boxing, he doesn't finish a lot of his opponents, right? He's more of a decision guy and probably the only decision guy out of Bonsai, let's be honest. But Akimoto showed that his wrestling is good. He's gotten a lot stronger, and his striking is better than Yuki Motoya's. And I think even as an 18-year-old, since he's moved up to 135 and put on some muscle, I think that power that he had at 125 is going to carry over. So I think that's what Motoya has to be careful of, is striking with this amazing boxer. Like, I cannot say it enough. His technique at only 18, and it's going to get better, is nothing short of spectacular. Let's see how his jiu-jitsu is, because his wrestling is fine, right? He'll be able to defend takedowns, or he'll be able to work off his back, maybe get back up to his feet, maybe also reverse position, but how long can that go? And is his jiu-jitsu up to par as that of Motoya? So I'm really excited to see Akimoto fight in the biggest test. And if Motoya beats him, dude, I'd honestly be pumped for Motoya too, because prospect, though a lot of fans don't like to cheer on the prospect killers, no one's more deserving of a late little run in some helium, especially that making it a 3-fight win streak than Motoya.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. This fight is one of the bangers of the card. You know, I call him the RIZIN Prince Akimoto.
He's so good.
I am on that kid. I think he's going to be he's the future of RIZIN. Like, he's a future star of RIZIN. He like in the RIZIN Discord, I tell him all the time, like, whatever it takes to keep this kid from being poached by the UFC or anybody else, do it. Pay him. This kid is. I think he's worth it, even if he loses here to Motoya, because, like you said, this is the biggest test of his career, and you know, and that's probably why they matched him against Motoya, is to see where his jiu-jitsu is at, because he's got everything else in his game is excellent, like you're saying. So that's probably why they made this match. But this is definitely the biggest test of his career. So even if he loses this bout, I still see stardom in his future, because, you know, 18, just already a sensational fighter, one of the best young guns out there, and if not I mean, who is a better young gun out there right now? I've been trying to think of it while I was talking to you here right now, but I can't think of any better young gun prospect out there. Because this kid Akimoto, Ryzen Prince Akimoto, is not even 20 years old. He's only 18, so, and he's already in there being excellent. And if he wins here against Motoya, dude, it's title shot time. It's either title shot or title contender time. One of the two. There's no more, no more vets or anything like that. This is like his final vet test here to see where he's at on jiu-jitsu, and if he passes right here, then he's going to go into either title contender fight or the title bout outright, because he's just I can't express how high we are on this guy. This kid he's going to be an amazing talent, amazing star, and that's why I want them to keep him no matter what, whatever the cost, pay it. Do not let the UFC poach this kid. At least keep him for several years to help. He's going to help build the RIZIN brand, because the Japanese fans already love him. You know what I mean? And for his debut, remember how on his debut, I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, is this kid going to be able to handle the big bright lights of the big stage in RIZIN? And he comes out there and puts on a sensational performance against a superior rule set, grounding finish and everything. Just absolutely sensational. That's what I dubbed the RIZIN Prince right there. So I'm just man, I can't wait for this one. I really think he's got what it takes to win this one. It is a. I'm curious. Actually, what do the odds say about this one? I've been curious about that one for a while now. What do the odds say on this one?
Dude, this one is pretty much a pick'em. Akimoto minus 120, Motoya minus 110.
Wow,
it's dead even.
It's a pick'em. That is awesome. Wow, what a fantastic matchup. And how look at how much respect the bookies are giving RIZIN Prince Akimoto. Already, he's only 18 years old, and they're putting him at dead even odds with such an established veteran like Motoya. That should, even the bookies know what's up with the RIZIN Prince Akimoto. So this is man, that is fantastic to hear. I'm so happy that I thought it was going to be Motoya was going to be the favorite. I thought Akimoto was going to be an underdog. I was about to tell you guys, hey, he's probably the livest underdog on the whole card now. If they're even, man, it's a pick'em. I'm going with the RIZIN Prince Akimoto. I just think he is just on a trajectory to stardom, and yes, he could lose this. It's the toughest competition he's faced. It's his toughest test to date, but I think he's going to pass it. I think he's going to pass it. So I'm going to pick him, and I just love that the odds are so close, and I can't wait to see this one play out. I can't wait to see it. And I hope it does go on the ground and we get to see his jiu-jitsu, because I believe that's like you're saying, Aisha, and you broke it down so brilliantly about this. That's probably why that this matchup is that's why they match up with Motoya at this stage, because they want to make sure that his jiu-jitsu is up to par with the rest of his skills, and before they throw him in a title fight. And so it's a perfect matchup. And the odds are to pick up that even, man. What an absolute banger. I cannot wait. That's the first one when he come back from the intermission. So yeah. That's why they did that. They put a banger to wake everybody back up after the intermission.
So who are you picking to win this one? You going with the Prince?
I am. I'm going with the RIZIN Prince. Akimoto is going to pass the test. Going to pass the toughest test of his career and continue his trajectory towards superstardom in Japan. That's my pick, 100%. And I don't think it's going to be a finish. I think Motoya is too tough. It's going to be a decision.
Okay.
This also, I know you said he's been putting on some muscle, but it is, when he moved up to a bantamweight before against Kotaro, he couldn't get because of the power differential, right?
Yeah.
He lost a little bit of power on that initial move up. So has he put on enough muscle to keep that power that he had at flyweight to transfer down to bantamweight? I don't know. I mean, you seem to think so, but it's like for me, he's still so young, right? He's only 18, but I can't even drink. I mean, this is
actually wait. I want to correct you. In Alberta, Canada, he can drink. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. Also, I think in the UK he can drink, like Germany and stuff, he can drink too. So, but here in the States he can't drink until 21. But like the point is that he doesn't have like his man strength. He hasn't grown to like his man body yet. With like, because remember when you were in high school and like lifted weights and stuff, like you didn't. Like it seemed like not until like your 20s when you could really put on like mass. You know what I mean? So it's like. I don't know. I just.
But you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? He was ragdolling Suzuki, and Suzuki's 40. Suzuki is a man. He's 40, and he was ragdolling him in the grappling. So like the strength is there. Will the power translate yet? We shall see. But anyways, I'm picking Akimoto, and I wrote in my notes here, hardest test yet. 2 out of his last 3 guys that he fought were legit, but Motoya's on a run right now, and I think that. The helium, the momentum that he has to be taken into account. Now, Motoya does or has recently choked against, better competition. I mean, I said it, really good competition in Kaya Sakura and Vince Morales. But if you look throughout his career too, it's like he'll beat up on mech guys and good guys, but then when he takes on the greats, he kind of falls. So there's just, he's done that throughout his whole career, and it's not that he likely won't correct that at 35 years of age. Plus, but Akimoto's so good on the feet, insane striking, insane boxing, great footwork. His wrestling is getting better. And like I said, if he wins this in whatever fashion, whether it's a quick knockout, whether he out jiu-jitsus Motoya, which I don't think he will, but like whatever the case, or makes it a very close split decision. If he gets this win, I do think he's the best Japanese prospect in the world right now. And the only other one I can think of who could maybe even challenge him for that, like, people are still saying Makoto Shinryu. He's almost 25 years old. He's not really a prospect anymore. Like with Shinryu, it's like I kind of know what he is, and I hope his striking gets better. But we talked about him earlier. The only other one, and do you remember Rei Tsuruya? He's in the UFC right now, 10-0 as a pro, insane grappler, who actually has 4 KO TKOs as well. He beat my old roommate's college buddy Carlos Hernandez in his UFC debut in a very back and forth fight. It was a grappling heavy fight. Carlos Hernandez with a wrestling background and really good jiu-jitsu as well. But he's beaten. He won the Road to UFC tournament. He was the king of Pancrase. He had a 5 or 4 fight win streak in deep. Like this guy right now at 22 years of age in the UFC, I think is probably like the other Japanese prospect. I think Akimoto will be solidified as the shiny new toy and rival the jiu-jitsu ace if he beats Motoya here, because he's just adding another great name to his resume. And I do think that this kid has the ability to be more well-rounded and be more of a threat everywhere than the kid in the UFC.
100%. And also the stardom potential for him. On this card, there's, besides Rising Prince Akimoto, also Sakuraba Jr. Those 2 fighters on this card are really young and could be potential superstars for Rising going into the future, going into these roaring 20s that we're in right now.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's just, or I should say, roaring 2020s.
Yeah, jeez. We're getting old, brother. We're getting old.
I know.
J-Wolf, the 90s weren't 10 years ago.
I know. Don't remind me. I love that decade.
You know the saying, it's like every 90s kid still thinks the 90s was 10 years ago.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Let's fire through this next one, because you kind of alluded to it earlier. We have Seika Izawa taking on Lucia Apdelgarim, who is out of Argentina. And I just want to say, like, there are some good fighters coming out of Argentina now, and just South America in particular. It's really cool to see all these Peruvian fighters. It's cool to see all these Spanish-speaking fighters out of that region, like Argentina in particular. A lot of Samurai Fight House fighters are even making the UFC and getting the chance to prove themselves on the biggest stage in Dana White Contender Series and in some regional shows out east as well. Lucia, though, had no business being in this fight. She's on a 2-fight losing streak. She's 20 years of age, so there's time for her to improve. She's scrappy, 2-3 as a pro. Like I said, on a 2-fight losing streak. Her last fight wasn't even in MMA. Her last 2 fights were in kickboxing. And then her last MMA fight, she lost. So, yeah, she hasn't faced anyone recently, anyways, of note. She lost to a 4-5 gal. She lost to a 1-0 gal. And the only two girls that she's beat didn't have a winning record. Mind you, she was 0-1 and 1-1 at the time, so I'm not going to blame her for, oh my God, you lost to a 0-3 gal. No, you're facing whoever you can at that point. And I always say this, Jay Wolf, like, if you're under 5 professional fights, I'm not going to judge you on your opponent's record. It's once you get 5 wins, it's like, okay, now, or 5 fights or 5 wins, whatever the case, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, at that point, start fighting better competition because you proved you're better than just the rest. This girl has not proven to be anything just yet. She is 100% a sacrificial lamb. Seika Izawa's undefeated. She's minus 4,000. And I say I hate boxing odds in MMA. This one actually is totally okay because Izawa's going to absolutely destroy. Now, I know Izawa was not happy with her last performance. I know she was like, in textbook Japanese fashion, win or lose, they cry, but she was crying after winning this one. And Kana Asakura, legend, right? Legend of female Japanese mixed martial arts. Even though she was coming off of a layoff and retired after this one, I still think Izawa should be proud of that win. I think with the fuel of her wanting to leave no doubt, get a finish, get a dominant win in the last one, I think she absolutely tears through Lucia more so than she would have without that fire. And especially since she was training right for Reina, arguably the other best, the RIZIN female star, the other best Japanese MMA superstar.
Absolutely. Arguably the bigger one, because we call her Striker Queen Reina. And also, the SQ could be the shoot boxing queen. That's her official nickname, the shoot boxing queen Reina, because she was, dominant on the shoot boxing scene for years until she went to RIZIN.
Which that fight is going to happen soon, and it's going to be awesome because you have Izawa, who's more of a grappler and wrestling base, against more of a striker in Reina. But they both are well rounded, right? It's just cool to see that there's two different bases of martial arts rounding out their styles. And look, Izawa's awesome, man. 7 submissions, 6 decisions, 8-0 in RIZIN, 5-0 in Deep Jewels. She's the queen of Deep Jewels right now, and she's just been cleaning up the competition, collecting heads, snatching bodies, dude, left, right, and center. So she's gonna. There's not really much more to say. She's awesome. We can't wait to see the Reina fight.
Absolutely, yeah. And also the Argentine girl. She is from. Do you remember early in the year the Ganryu Jima? And it was like the book fighting organization, and it was like a Mortal Kombat setup, like a video game style setup. This Argentine girl was on that card. She fought the kickboxing girl. Oh God, what was her name? I want to say Miyu something. Oh gosh, I can't remember right now. I'm sorry, but anyway, she was from that card. Did a great performance. Beat one of the star kickboxers on that Ganryu Jima card. So that's why when Striker Queen Reina got injured, that's why they plucked this Argentine girl to fill in for Striker Queen Reina.
She fought in the K1 World Grand Prix in Brazil. She lost a split decision to Lani Silva. So she does have really good striking, but again, that's just the thing. She's more of a striker. Izawa's going to take her down and submit her or beat her up instantly. So
it's going to be. Is there a prop bet, side bet to see if it even goes 30 seconds? Can you bet on the under 30 second finish?
I'm sure some line has it. And look, shout out to Samurai Fight House. It's a growing league. It's a growing league in Argentina, and they're actually producing a lot of UFC level talent. Which is, you know me, man. I support the regionals more than anybody on this platform. I support the regionals more than every other MMA fan. I'm a psych. I love seeing these smaller promotions do well. And Samurai Fight House is doing well, but let's be honest, Lucia, she just ain't it. Let's move on to the next one.
This is it's a late replacement, just showcase fight for Seika Izawa, and then
it's a tune-up fight, as Rampage Jackson would say. It's a tune-up fight, right? Because the Japanese love them tune-up fights.
This could be part of the announcements. This is after the intermission. So it wouldn't be. I wouldn't put it past them just to bring Reina into the ring when Izawa's making her address to the audience. Yeah, and hype that up.
Reina's gonna be there ringside. You know that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's a superstar in Japan, and you know what? That because you see the online chatter about Dana White and the UFC going to bring in a strawweight division. Or no, I'm sorry, an atomweight division. Yes.
I hope so. You know, I mean,
If they do,
Drew on the We Are Rising podcast said it best. He's like, you know, Dana said that, but I honestly, you know, because I think it was Drake like brought up, I forget who he brought up, but he brought up one of the female fighters, and Dana was like, oh yeah, no, we love her, she's great. And the co-host told Drew, he's like, yeah, and I bet Dana was like, oh yeah, he's a great kid. So who knows if Dana actually even knows who the f- he was talking about, if he's just like, oh yeah, you know, telling the audience or the reporters what they want to hear. I do think atomweight is crucial for the UFC because 145 dead division, 135 hardly any talent in there, 125 it was great. Right now it's kind of thinning out, and 115 is always going to be good. But why is it good? Because the freaking lighter females are the better fighters. It's just it you know, leave the option for 135 because, you know, some women just have issues cutting weight, and the female and male body are very different in that, right? It's a lot easier for a male to cut weight. We can shed water weight way easier than the females, right? So like make those options available still. 145, it's, you know, go over to PFL if you want to fight 145, but, you know, continue with 135, but invest in 105 because that's where the talent is. I mean, dude, people dog Invicta all the time because, oh, women's MMA is not as exciting. Dude, Invicta's fucking awesome, and their atomweight division is awesome. And Deep Jewels, it's my favorite female MMA to watch for a reason.
And Izawa is the current Deep Jewels atomweight champion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And she's probably the best atomweight on the planet right now. And so what I was getting to is that, and you obviously, you know, you broke it down so great as you always do, but if after this fight at New Year's Eve against Archingo, they're probably going to set up for the Strike Arena bout, and that's the biggest Japanese women's mixed martial arts bout possible right now. And after they do that, next year sometime, maybe first quarter, maybe that's what's going to be one of the announcements, or maybe they bring Reina into the ring after Izawa's bout. She's not going to take any damage in this fight. And I mean, I'm serious when I'm saying it's zero prop bet. If you can bet on this fight in under 30 seconds, Izawa sub 30 seconds. If there's a prop bet for that, I would definitely throw some money on that prop bet because there's a very realistic possibility that could hit in this one.
All right, before we move on, I'm doing this live, by the way. I'm putting $1 on Lucia to win by knockout. I'm gonna be rich, bro.
If you win, is it like $1,000 payout if you win?
Hold on one sec.
That's incredible. But after this fight, they're going to set up for the Circuit Arena match, and that's the biggest Japanese women's mixed martial arts possible at this time. And after that, I believe she will make a jump to the UFC. I believe next year, Dana White is going to relent. He's going to bring in the atomweight division, and the best atomweight in the world right now is Seika Izawa. He'll bring her in next year, and she'll spearhead the atomweight division in the UFC. And she'll probably be the first inaugural champion. Probably the first. It's been that way they can have their first Japanese champion. And, you know, get that monkey off the back, and then they'll probably open up the floodgates, and then we'll get, you know, Tira and Kai when he'll probably work his way back to a title shot, and maybe even Kyoji will come back. So, but I definitely see that that's a possibility because, you know, in RIZIN they haven't really been having that many women's fights that much anymore. Have you noticed that? There's barely been any this year, and it's like.
It's because I think just because there's been a lot in Deep. Like Deep's had a really busy year, and just like most of their roster comes from Deep, and they've just been like Deep's just been featuring them more.
Okay, so there's no. I was worried about, you know, this is not enough for the to have.
I think it's just a scheduling thing this year. Hopefully next year they kind of maybe like plan it more where it's like, okay, you didn't just fight 3 weeks ago on a Deep card or like a month ago on a Deep card and you're taking damage or whatever. Because let's be honest, man, a lot of the Deep Jewels ones, they're mismatches because like a lot of these women like are fighting on the side, and the ones on the side, I mean, you have to fight, right? Like it's not a deep. Ironically, it's not a deep roster. So a lot of these women who, when they go to like Osaka, for example, when they go to some of these more smaller regional shows, there's a lot of local women who are like, no disrespect, but like, you know, one step above Jazzercise who come in and fight legit fighters and get really fucked up, right? And then they continue fighting, and that's the roster, right? So there's a lot of women who I think take a little bit more time to recover, and then there's, you know, the stars that are being used and who are just continuing to get reps in Deep while, you know, in between the RIZIN shows. So I do think it's it's thinner than in years past, but I just think with the amount of deep shows, both deep and deep jewels, because there've been women on both. Let's be honest. The deep jewel shows is all women, but on the deep impact shows, they'll put a few women fights on there as well. I just think with how packed and how busy the deep schedule was this year, and them utilizing a lot of the female fighters, other than the stars in RIZIN, most of the available crop are active and are booked, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. So, and you know, and if Dingo Verdana's idiot doesn't bring in atomweight next year, and you know, Seika stays in RIZIN in Japan after the Star Queen Arena fight, then we need to start bringing back the Invicta, like you were talking about. The Invicta has a fantastic atomweight division.
Let's do Invicta versus RIZIN, or let's do an Invicta RIZIN atomweight Grand Prix.
Yes, absolutely, yes, and throw Kabate Global in the mix too.
Sure, yeah,
because they also have some female atomweights that are pretty good. So that would be that'd be sensational. I hope that happens. I think
Invicta has to start working with RIZIN and vice versa, because like they'll just help each other out.
Absolutely. I mean, those are some of the best female fights that we've seen in the recent times when they had the crossover bouts.
Yeah.
Right.
Invicta's back on CBS, and it's awesome. It's like their last three shows have been awesome. I mean, Tina Black in that last show, my God. Now I know we're not quite atomweight, but still, like they put on great shows. And again, I'm a huge supporter of Invicta. I know some of my chat they like to dog female or women's MMA. Look, I'm a huge supporter of it here, and I call it for what I see. If there's a bad female fight, I'm gonna call it a shit fight. If there's a bad male fight, I'm gonna call it a shit fight. The last few Invicta cards have been awesome, and I mean, let's just say Bishop in freaking pink shorts too. Why would you want to miss that? But let's move on to the title fights.
Okay, yeah, let's get to the good stuff here. Let's finish this preview. I mean,
this is going to be our longest preview, by the way. I think we got an hour on the last one, so hope you got your popcorn, guys. Hope you got your popcorn. Probably should have said that at the beginning of the show, but anyways, we'll fire through these. We'll fire through these three ones because they're very like we don't need to highlight the names too much because these are the popular names. These are the guys that a lot of people are buying the pay-per-view for. Roberto Satoshi Souza defending his title against Vugar Karamov, who's moved up to lightweight. Back from his slap on the wrist with the hooliganism. I always joke in one championship about Shatri jail. Well, he was like actually in jail, but anyways, he's a free man, and man, did he was he uncaged? Was he unleashed in his last fight, or what? A beautiful dismantling of Majima, the grounded elbow from hell. It was beautiful, and let's be honest, when he fought Chihiro Suzuki, he was on his way to beating him. It was one of the most fluky, but I hate saying fluking in any sort of fighting because anything can happen in fighting and you kind of have to have a technique to be able to throw like Hail Marys. But let's be honest, like you run that fight back 9 or 10 times and Karamov's probably winning 8 of them, right, against Suzuki. So we know how good he is. We know that his grappling is a very smothering style, which why I like this matchup is Satoshi style is not. Satoshi somehow, some way, steroids. Okay, just kidding. Has somehow found some power, right? Not ever known as a striker, and out of nowhere, knocking guys out left, right, and center. I mean, what he did to Gustavo was insane, right? Yeah, and by the way, I'm tongue in cheek here or not, I love KSW. I love Pride. I have no issues in anything. I encourage that in mixed martial arts. But anyway, and I know Jay Wolf. I know you share that sentiment with me.
Oh, you're talking about pads and steroids, dude. The UFC does not have. They dumped USADA. USADA is no longer associated with UFC. Everybody in the UFC is on steroids. It's high time the rest of the world figure that out and stop. Ruining fights and just bring back the IQ test so the guys are not juiced up going into the ring. But forget about just test them during camp and stuff like that. I mean, dude, that's part of why there's so many injuries. If you're not allowing them to if they get injured and they can take something that helps them heal faster, that should be allowed. I think
absolutely.
But,
I agree.
It's just.
I agree.
But the point is that UFC dumped USADA. USADA is no more. The UFC is doing its own joke testing. It's for their own company. They're basically testing and policing themselves. Come on. I mean, it's a joke.
Well, and let's be honest, RIZIN kind of does the same. Like every now and then they'll, like, obviously with Ren Hiramoto or with Kimura, like they'll raise a stink when they want to, right? But I mean, you look at Roberto de Souza, you look at Satoshi, and it's like, come on, man.
It's like, but nobody cares though. It's like they got to stop worrying. Like that's what bugs me about like Glory Kickboxing. Talk about they want to do drug testing now. It's like, no, you guys, why are you? Why?
This is my thing. If you want to ban steroids, ban anabolics. Let the EPO slide.
Yeah, or the recovery ones.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah,
like the ones that like the if they like snap a limb or a ligament or something, those ones that help regrow tissue faster.
Yeah, no, right? Exactly. So anyways, I knew we'd go down a rabbit hole with that comment, but I mean, like, look at what Satoshi's been doing in his last 2 fights. You're going to tell me this guy's not on the juice? I'm going to tell you you're a fucking liar right to your face. But anyways, Vugar, Karamov...
Yeah, they're all on steroids. Okay. It's just the big deal is they're all on steroids, and it's true. In the UFC, they're all on steroids. There's no more USADA, so who cares?
Yeah. So Karamov, 20-5 as a pro, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's out of Azerbaijan. He's one of the crew of guys from Azerbaijan who've just been absolutely dominating here in Japan. Coming off a win, like I said, against Majima. Before then, lost his title to Chihiro Suzuki. Beat Mikuru Asakura for the title over a year ago. And before he beat Mikuru, was actually on a pretty damn good win streak. He beat Hori, he beat Yamamoto, he beat Nakajima. So like, yeah, he was well-deserved title shot. And Suzuki in his hometown in Azerbaijan spoiled the party, landing that beautiful knee from the bottom. Up kick, sorry. Obviously, put on the shelf because of some stuff that went on outside of the cage. Great job beating Majima, and RIZIN's thrown him right back into the title mix, but up a weight class against Roberto de Souza, who's 17-3 as a pro. He's the slight favorite at -130. Karamov's the slight underdog at +100, so pretty close odds here. Karamov's 32 years of age. Satoshi is 35. Satoshi's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, 6 KO TKOs, 10 submissions, 1 decision, 10-1 in RIZIN, 0-2 in the Bellator crossover shows because he lost to Patricky Pitbull, which...
That was a late replacement, though. That was like a days.
Yeah.
That was because he was stepping up for AJ McKee.
Yes.
Who got staph infection.
Yeah, exactly.
And like 2 days notice.
And Patricky just destroyed his legs, and to the point where Satoshi's like, yeah, fuck this, I don't want... on the ground, like, wave, no more, no mas. And before then had a very close decision against AJ McKee, and I know we've talked about this on the last previous show, so we won't dive into it too much, but I know a lot of people still in Japan and outside of Japan think that Satoshi won that fight.
Because of submission. He had him in deep submission danger.
Yeah.
So they want to score those as near finishes. But I side with the judges because AJ McKee had the more spectacular striking, and he was able to get out of those submission attempts. So it's like, I don't know. I thought it was a correct decision, but I can see the argument for Stoney. But it was a great fight against 2 of the top fighters. So I just want to put that little caveat there. Please continue.
No, absolutely. And if you look at some of the names that he's been fighting and rising and winning, he's going to defend his title here for the 4th time. I thought Luis Gustavo was going to beat him. I thought that Luis Gustavo would be able to stuff his takedowns and keep this on the feet, and if it stayed on the feet, Luis Gustavo was going to win. This didn't even need to go to the ground because Satoshi knocked him out. Nakamura, I thought Satoshi was going to take down Nakamura and out jiu-jitsu him. He referee stoppage. Corner stoppage. The flag was thrown, or whatever it was, the yellow rod. I don't know what they throw in RIZIN.
It's like a baton.
Yeah, it's like a yellow baton, which honestly, it's kind of dangerous just throwing a freaking baton there in the ring. But anyways, versatile.
I don't think it's metal. I don't think it's like an actual baton. I think it's like a plastic.
No, but still, it's a hard object. Anyways, that aside, 2 amazing wins because Gustavo. I was heartbroken to see him lose that one in that way. Gustavo, absolute nemesis. Nakamura, very, very crafty veteran. He beat Spike Carlisle before that decision, defended his title against Johnny Case, Yachi, and won the title against Tofik Musayev. So he is in his prime. He is on a run. He has somehow learned how to knock motherfuckers out. Like, Satoshi is the most dangerous of Satoshi. Like, this version of Satoshi is the most dangerous version of Satoshi I have ever seen, that any of us have seen yet, J-Wolf. I like the clash in styles, that he is a very strong and aggressive jiu-jitsu fighter who grapples and fights very different than Kleber due to his just body type and just strength versus just pure technique. And Vugar Karamov on the other side of things, smothering wrestling and grappling style with power as well. So I'm leaning Satoshi in this one. What say you?
I actually have Satoshi-san as well. I believe he's going to be the bigger fighter because Vugar is stepping up in weight class, and Vugar usually fights at featherweight, right? So he's stepping up, and I wonder if that's because he's been out for so long dealing with all the legal stuff.
Well, and I also think that like his path to the title was quicker. Like there's more fights that, you know, if Suzuki had to rematch Kleber, and if Suzuki wins, there's other matchups, right, that Rizin wants to make versus just him and Karamov again. So I think this was just his easiest path to the title up a weight class.
Yeah, and also because he was out for so long, he probably packed on some pounds, and it was going to be difficult for him to drop.
He looked like he was in pretty damn good shape though in his last fight, Majima, on November 17th.
You're right. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally had forgotten the timeline. But you're absolutely right. And that was at featherweight. So he beat Majima, and now he's fighting Satoshi. You're right. Okay, my bad. But anyways, I still think Satoshi is going to be bigger and stronger, especially if he's on the gear. You know what I mean? And he was already, in my opinion, for the lighter weight classes, probably the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter in the game.
And now he has striking. And now he has power, right?
Yeah, and he knows the assignment. Remember on that? It was earlier in the year. Was it Kanahara they did it too? I can't remember, but he got the TKO that he got. It started with like a head kick, and then he ended it with some grounded strikes, some superior rule set grounded strikes for the sensational TKO.
Yeah, that was Nakamura. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, it was Nakamura. Okay. So Nakamura. So yeah, and it was a sensational superior rule set finish, TKO finish. So he knows the assignment with his striking as well. So he's just all around dangerous now. I mean, you take arguably the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter, and you give him some superior rule set striking. That's a very dangerous fighter. And now a guy's coming up from featherweight to face him. I mean, and Karamov, he's a great fighter. Vugar Karamov, former champion, and like you're saying, fantastic fighter. But I think Satoshi's be too much. And it's interesting that the odds are so close. And Satoshi's only a slight favorite.
I just think because it's such a good matchup style-wise, right? Because they both aren't strikers first, but they both are more than capable on the feet. Against slight edge of Satoshi right now because he's knocking guys out. But like, they're both good strikers, not great strikers, right? But they're basic. That's the thing. But J-Wolf, their styles of grappling are completely opposite. That's what makes it so amazing. Because Vugar Karamov, it's very much a smothering wrestling style. I'll use the example of Khabib/Dagestani style. It's not entirely like that. It is a little bit different. I'm not comparing him to Khabib, but it's that style of wrestling, right? Where it's that style of grappling, where Satoshi's is jiu-jitsu, right? It's aggressive jiu-jitsu, but it's jiu-jitsu. So it's such a cool fucking matchup, dude. And that's why I think it's so close, because they're very similar as far as what they use as their base to round out their mixed martial arts, but completely different styles within that style, sub-styles, right? So I think this is just such a tremendous matchup, and I'm so excited to see how this plays out.
Me too. Very well. Great rundown of it right there. And man, that's fantastic. 100% agreed. And this could be a grappler's delight, because they're both, like you said, both of them are grappler first, and they have a different grappling styles. So this could be a real true grappler's delight match right here. I mean, I can't wait to see it. But I'm picking Satoshi de Souza because I just think he's just too good. I think his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is just too good.
And momentum's in his favor right now with those 2 wins over just the one.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I just feel the size is going to be too much for Karamov. So, especially if Satoshi's on the gear.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, I'm definitely picking Satoshi here to defend his lightweight title again. And then I think if Vugar Karamov loses, then I feel like he'll drop back down to featherweight after this one. So, I'm guessing that's what's going to happen. So, but that's my pick. I'm assuming you're picking Satoshi as well. You said you're leading him?
I'm picking him as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's going to be a banger either way. I'm predicting a grappler's delight in that one.
I say that. I've been saying that the last 2 Satoshi fights, and then he knocks out his opponent. So I'm gonna say it's a grappler's delight, and Satoshi's gonna knock out his opponent because I just said that.
Yes, I love it.
I mean, if there's good odds on Satoshi getting a knockout, I don't have the prop bets in front of me, but if there is, I mean, you might as well ride that wave, right? You might as well pick it again because I'm sure you're gonna get it at over plus 300, right? Like,
I mean, this is the year of the knockout for him.
Yeah.
Right. Every fight that Satoshi's had this year has been he's turned into we were joking in the Discord channel calling him K1 Satoshi. You know, they always talk about K1 striking.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan does that. We're saying Satoshi is K1 Satoshi now.
Oh man,
it's really great to see. That would be a wise prop bet because this is the year that he's been just knocking fools out, man. That's not out of the realm of possibility. 100%.
100%. All right, let's get to the co-main event. We have Kyoji Horiguchi against the Zulu boy, Nkazimulo Zulu, who is 16-6-1 as a pro. Funny enough, he is kind of a UFC veteran as well, as he appeared on that one season of The Ultimate Fighter where the UFC brought all the regional champions at flyweight to come in and compete on The Ultimate Fighter, and the winner was going to get the title shot against then Demetrius Johnson. And if you look at the names on that season, man, Brandon Moreno, Zulu Boy, Pantoja, Ogi Kubo, like really, really cool names on that season and guys who are still active to this day. So Zulu was actually the EFC champion representative on that season of The Ultimate Fighter back in 2016. So I just thought that was pretty cool. Going into that, he was the EFC champion. Going into that competition 7-2, he actually lost to Ogi Kubo. Funny enough. And went on to defend his title 3 more times before losing to UFC fighter Jake Hadley. And then getting back his title in 2021, losing it, getting it back again in 2023, defending it, and then coming over to RIZIN where he fought Joe Arai. Now, guys, Joe Arai, don't look at his record and just assume that he's just a whatever veteran, a journeyman. He's 16-12-2, sure, but he was on a crazy win streak before losing to Kondo, which he took that fight on short notice, and then losing to Zulu in the first round. He's no joke of a fighter, okay? So I think that was a pretty good matchup for Zulu coming into RIZIN. Would I have liked to see him face someone a little bit higher in their, in our ethos rankings, because there's not really rankings in RIZIN, right? But you know what I mean, in how like the public ranks guys and just a higher level guy in that weight class, absolutely, but not the worst test. And because he got through Joe Arai so easily, I'm okay with him getting the title shot because there's not really anybody else right now, and like I don't want to see Ogi Kubo fight him again yet. If it's in the Grand Prix, then sure. But like let's throw some new matchups at Horiguchi to get him excited, so he stops just getting rejected by the UFC and is heartbroken, right?
That's weird. We should talk about that as well.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in 1 second though. I'm just gonna finish talking about Zulu here before we get to Horiguchi.
Go ahead.
He is on a 3-fight win streak again. Dominant, 3-4-time champion in EFC. He is just as tall as Horiguchi, but he does have 3 inches of reach, so he's good at striking at range, and he has 7 submissions, and he's never been submitted. So his jiu-jitsu is pretty good. He's only been knocked out once. Most of his losses, J-Will, 5 of his losses have been via decision, right? So he's durable. He's getting up there in age, 35 years of age, but let's be honest, man, Horiguchi's getting up there in age and has double the amount of fights as him as well, and only a year younger. So I like this fight. I'm excited for this fight as like a hardcore MMA fan, because the RIZIN community, the regional MMA fan community knows how good Zulu is. Horiguchi's just better though, bro. Horiguchi's just better, and I predict he's gonna win this fight. He's 33-5 as a pro, 4-1 no contest when he poked Shinryu in the eye. He's the minus 750 favorite in this one. Zulu boy is plus 450, and I don't care if he's 34 years of age. He beat all the best other than Demetrius Johnson in the UFC. He beat all the best in Bellator and got his redemption against Pettis in their last meetup in RIZIN. And he's continuing to clean out divisions in RIZIN at bantamweight and at flyweight. 15 KO TKOs, 5 submissions, 13 decisions. He's 13-1 in RIZIN, 7-1 in the UFC, bro, and 2-1 in Bellator. Like, what the fuck is all I can say? That is the question. 13-1 in RIZIN, 7-1 in the UFC. You don't see those records. This guy's a legend. He's an absolute legend in the making, and he's still fighting at the highest level. It's an absolute disgrace and a shame that the UFC do not want to bring him in for him to finish his business and try to get that title. And look, all the love to Kaya Sakura, Kyoji deserved it more. Kyoji deserved that title shot more, dude. And Kyoji said he would fight Pantoja. Kyoji said he would fight his training partner. It disgusts me, bro. It disgusts me. This guy has won belts in all of the best promotions right now, and he needs that UFC goal to round out his no-doubt legend status, and it makes me fucking sick that Dana White will not bring him in to finish the job, dude. I think he's scared. I don't know what the reason is. I watched the confessions, and it's annoying that they don't want to bring him in. What more does he have to do to get those big UFC dollars? Especially watching Kai go over, and well-deserved Kai. Fucking love Kaya Sakura. But man, what does Kyoji Horiguchi have to do, Jay Wolf?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
It makes me mad, dude. I'm sweating right now.
No, I'm right there with you. I mean, we're trying to figure it out. Like, why was asking price too high or something?
Dude, the UFC have endless pockets. Money doesn't. I hear, and with all due respect, I hear the boys in the We Are RIZIN podcast bring this up time after time. Money is not a thing to the UFC, so stop using that as an argument. It means nothing.
What is it, then? What happened? Why was Dingleberry Dana? I mean, so you really think he was scared that Kyoji was going to come back in there and win the title?
I don't, but that's the thing. Why would he be scared? Because you're getting the Japanese market. So, like, it makes no sense to me. And you say 34 years of age? Bro, you're signing Dana White Contender Series guys who are 34 years of age.
Exactly, right? And this guy, Kyoji already has UFC footage. Like you said, 7-1 UFC. I mean, it'd be so easy to hype and promote him.
Well, and RIZIN will give them their fucking footage like they did with Asakura.
Exactly. And he's a 2-division champion right now, not only at flyweight, but also at bantamweight.
Dude, he comes in, whether he beats Pantoja or not, the next fight's Manel Cap rematch. Boom! Exactly. Like, what the hell? You do Asakura and him again in the UFC. Like, could you imagine him and Brandon Moreno? Like, bro! Him and Kaikar France? Him and Steve Urseg? Dude, there are so many good fights. I don't get it. I don't either.
But you know what? The fact that he's still talking about it, and maybe there's still something there that could happen. Maybe, because also this fight right here with Kyoji and Zulu, this was also kind of like a late replacement type of a fight, because remember, Kyoji was going to be part of the collaboration that Dummy Don Davis fumbled, the part of the PFL collaboration. We were guessing that he was maybe going to, maybe either fight Mix or rematch Mix or rematch Pettis for like the title on the line or something. That's what we were guessing, and all signs are pointing to that. But then Dummy Don Davis fumbled the for whatever his reasoning is. It's just ridiculous. But whatever, fine. You're lost, Dummy Don. It's it's going to be awesome. But Zulu, if you remember his debut in RIZIN, he won it on a TKO, but that TKO started off with this sensational kick combo that was so freaking awesome Do you remember the beginning of Bloodsport where Van Damme is in the gym and he's kicking that speed bag? He kicks it with a roundhouse kick and he does like a follow up with like a back heel kick roundhouse type of a deal, right? And it was that same style kicking combo that Zulu landed in his RIZIN debut that led to the TKO in his RIZIN debut. And it was just, man, it was great to watch. He's got fantastic striking. And like you were saying, he's got a longer reach than Kyoji. So, and he's confident in the grappling game. So this, to me, I mean, I think the odds should be a little bit closer than what they are. I think that this is a really good fight, to be honest with you, for Kyoji. And it's if Kyoji has a good performance here, I can see, the Kyoji to UFC talks really heat up after this one. Really. And if not, you know what they're going to do? This is what's going to happen. After this fight, win or lose with Kyoji, he's either going to go to the UFC or he's going to be put into the Flyweight Grand Prix next year. I 100% believe that's going to be one of the announcements. And if it is one of the announcements in this bout right here, if Kyoji defends his title, I could easily see them announcing that he's, he'll be in the Grand Prix, defend his title for each leg of the Grand Prix, and always do in Pride. That was one of the things that made Almighty Pride FC fantastic. That Bellator under Scotty Cokes, trying to emulate was them putting their champions in the Grand Prix. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I can see them doing with Kyoji easily.
Yeah. Rest in peace, the unfinished lightweight Grand Prix that we were halfway through.
Exactly right. Oh my God, dude! Don't even get me started on Dummy Don Davis and his terrible decisions. That stupid answer to that question about where he said he's not even really an MMA fan, doesn't have a favorite MMA fight. He's a boxing guy. It's like, oh, dude,
it's like you
so much.
Well, and you think like your fighters are confident now in you hearing that? Like, lie, bro.
Oh.
Lie. It's as simple as that. You just lie to the media if you don't watch it.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest MMA fan ever, bro. I watch all the fights. I even watch, what's that small regional show friggin' Black Combat the other day? We watched that too, You lie.
Exactly. And just if they ask you for what your favorite fight was, why don't you say one of your fights from fucking PFL and the show that you're
100%.
Fight week, bro.
100%.
Oh, it was like I tell the Discord bros, I'm like, dude, that was an all-time fumble. That might be the all-time worst fumble in MMA history, I think, because that led to I believe that directly led to the PFL pay-per-view disaster, as I call it, with unfortunately with Ngannou, because that did not get, the reports say it didn't get over 10,000 buys, and ever since that happened, that's when I feel like they panicked after that. I feel like Dummy Don Davis panicked after that, and that's why he canceled the collaboration portion, because he was scared that he didn't want his PFL brand fighters taking losses in Japan, and because there was no guarantee that they were going to go 5-0 like the Bellator did the first time, right? So I was thinking that maybe he was scared that his brand was going to take a hit if he went ahead with the collaboration portion. But it's like it wouldn't have, though. It just enhanced his brand. It was just such a terrible fumble. And now it led to him, I believe that directly led to him canceling those Bellator shows, or at least postponing them, to where now they're not even called Bellator anymore. It's like Road to Dubai or whatever. And he shelved all his elite fighters. Like, that's why Patricio Pitbull is speaking up now, going, hey, what the heck? We had Patricio Pitbull actually revealed what part of the collab mega event was supposed to be. It was supposed to be, obviously, the rematch, which was, as I like to call it, which is Chihiro Suzuki versus Patricio Pitbull 2. That was obviously the one that was supposed to be headlining it. And then Patricio also revealed that his brother, Patricky, was supposed to fight on the collab portion against Kleber and Hiroki.
Okay.
And so that was another fight that was going to be on there. So I was assuming that another one was going to be Kyoji as well. But anyways, it was going to be sensational. And Dummy Don Davis fumbled it inexplicably, I think, in a panic after the PFL pay-per-view disaster. So that was an all-time fumble in MMA history. And credit to Scotty Morrison recovering from it, because this New Year's Eve card right here, it's really fun. I'm really happy. And I love how he went with what I was asking for the whole year. I'm like, dude, just give me 15 plus superior rule set bouts, and it'll be great.
There you go.
That's exactly what he did. We got like 18 of them on here. So
you're going with Kyoji?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with Kyoji. I really like Zulu. He's a great fighter, great striking, but I just think that Kyoji just wants to come out there, and again, I don't think he wants to make a statement that the UFC is messing up by not taking me back, and he's gonna put up for us here. And if he scores a sensational finish, I could see the UFC taking note, maybe sign it back. And if they don't, I definitely can see the Scotty Barras on Horizon throwing him in the Flyweight Grand Prix next year.
Oh, man.
I believe that's what's going to happen.
Oh, man. He wins in sensational fashion, and Sean O'Malley walks into the ring and calls him out at bantamweight. Oh, my God. Yes. No, that is a possibility. Hands him a contract. Hands him a contract and says, "This is from Uncle Dana."
Oh, my God. That would be fucking insane.
Okay. I got to stop, or else we're going to talk for another 2 hours. But keep that in the back of your mind for when you go in there and you post fight show. And if it happens, be like, "Yo, Isha said it first, bro."
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Oh my God, that's gonna be more excited now. That's a real possibility.
I have Horiguchi winning as well. I do love this matchup. To wrap it up here before we go to the final one, and we'll wrap up the whole show. Both dominant champions in different promotions, and they've been dominant fighters in every promotion in which they've dipped their toe into. Two vets, two champions in the sport, two guys who've helped build up the flyweight division respectively, but Kyoji's just better everywhere, especially wrestling, so we give him the edge. Final fight, and thank you all so much for hanging out with us for this extended preview and prediction show. You guys know when Jay Wolf and I link up to do these shows, we go hour and a half, 2 hours on a card that features like 12 fights. Well, we have a card that featured 23 fights. So thank you so much for staying for up to 3 hours here to listen to us yap. Here we go. It's the rematch. It's for the title. Chihiro Suzuki against Kleber, Koike, Erbst. I've been teeing them up all in the beginning here, so I'm going to throw it to you right off the bat. Thoughts on the fight, notes on the fighters, and do you think Suzuki can survive this one and still?
I sincerely hope so, because I love Chihiro Suzuki. He's just a sensational, a true kickboxing crossover. The man he's fighting both. He's both a kickboxing champion right now and a mixed martial arts champion right now, the champion of RIZIN. He is a kickboxing crossover, the truest form. Because he's the actual KO kickboxing champion right now, right? Of KO Black, I believe.
Yep.
The Black Series.
Yep.
And he's also obviously the RIZIN champion. And we know how he won that title in sensational fashion with the superior rule set, grounded up kick, and Vugar Karamov.
And defended it against Kanehara with ground and pound, which is awesome name to put on his resume.
Absolutely. And that showed that he had, because Kanehara has grappling, right?
Yep.
It showed Suzuki's growth in the grappling department, which is what he's going to need here in this fight, because Kleber is, he's in Satoshi's camp, right? It's Satoshi and Kleber are two of the lighter weight, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the masters. It's just, there's no other way to put it. They're just sensational grapplers. And Kleber is no joke in the grappling department, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And, but look, Chihiro has a pathway to victory here. All he's going to do is emulate the game plan that Patricio Pitbull beat Kleber with.
Leg kicks.
Exactly. Thank you. And Chihiro is a kickboxer crossover, so he has excellent leg kicks. Okay, so if he just doesn't try to go in there guns blazing and trying to do the crowd pleasing KO, right off the bat, and just sets for the first couple of rounds, just sets back and picks apart them legs and try to beat them up with the jab and stuff like that. And whatever you do, stay away from Kleber's grappling, because he is one of the best grapplers in the lightweight divisions. In their first matchup, even though it was a no contest because Kleber missed weight in that, Kleber still beat him. When he got off the ground, Chihiro was unable to get out of it, and he got submitted. So, I mean, Kleber is very dangerous, and this is a very dangerous matchup for Chihiro. But Chihiro can get it done because the game plan to beat Kleber is there, and it is if Chihiro can implement it and not make a mental mistake, you know what I mean, and just stick to the game plan of keeping away from him, staying away from the grappling, and picking apart those legs, and then maybe going for it in the third round if he sees an opening. But I mean, it's possible, but it's really dangerous because Kleber is a dangerous fighter, and he already has beat him before. So that's going to be in the back of their minds the whole time. It's just, this is also a replacement fight too, because like we said in the previous bout we're talking about with Kyoji, then is that Dumping Dog Davis fumbled. And this was originally supposed to be what I call the rematch. Mm-hmm. And that is between Chihiro Suzuki and Patricio Pound Pitbull. As we all know, in their first meeting, it was a sensational knockout. Chihiro Suzuki, I mean, just that sent shockwaves to the MMA world. It was personally my knockout of the year in last year, and or at least one of a candidate, and upset of the year. It was awesome, and it was a beautiful knockout too, Patricio. And they've been hyping it all year. Even the PFL people. Do you remember the graphic they had on the screen late last year when after the acquisition of Bellator happened?
Oh yeah.
And it said right there, December 31st, Saitama Super Arena, and everybody was like, "Oh, nice! They're going to do another RIZIN collaboration." And yes, that was in the plans. And all of a sudden, they took it off the graphic, and then it was like, dude, but then they were still hyping all year, right? Chihiro was in the ring, called Patricio. Patricio was calling for that bout too, and now we know from Patricio Aaron, Aaron the drama out on Twitter or on X, talking about yes, that fight he was told he was supposed to be fighting Chihiro.
Well, and now it may never happen because if Pitbull signs with the UFC, we're never going to see that fight.
Yep. Well, then that's just. I mean, Chihiro always will have that knockout victory over him. So that's just the way it goes, But but we were. Anyways, that was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the rematch. But this is what happened. Since Dumping Dog Davis fumbled, this is what Sakaki Barasan put. He's like, okay, well, you want to try and take away that rematch, and then we're going to do the other rematch. We're going to have Chihiro be able to get this win back from Kleber and really solidify himself as the champion. Because if you remember, a lot of people were saying, yeah, Chihiro's a champion, but Kleber choked him out when they fought, even though Kleber missed weight, right? And that's why he lost the title, honestly. So, there's been, the storyline is there, right, for this one. So it was like I like this replacement matchup. Obviously not as good as the rematch, but still, very, very good fight. I don't even know if I want to pick this one. I don't want to try to jinx anything. But I'm not going to do an official pick on this one because I don't want to.
Okay, so that's really that's Jay Wolf's way of saying he's picking Kleber, but he wants Suzuki to win.
You know me too well.
Well, bro, I'm in the same boat. I love Suzuki. I think Kleber is amazing, and he's had an unbelievable career in mixed martial arts. I want nothing more than Suzuki to get that win back as well, but I am going to pick Kleber to win. Yeah, I am picking Kleber to win, and I do think he submits him again. Now, Chihiro Suzuki, 13-3 as a pro, 7 KO TKOs, 1 submission, shout out to him for that, and 5 decisions, 8-1-1 in RIZIN, 5-2 in Pancrase, and you said it, he's the knockout current kickboxing champion right now. I think that title defense against Kanehara, though, made me less bullish on Kleber. If he beat Karamov and then the Kleber fight happened right after that, I would have Kleber, no doubt, next, don't even have to do a rundown. But the fact that he beat Kanehara in the first round, and Kanehara was a threat, right? And he like Chael Sonnen, like the great Chael Sonnen, the undefeated gangster from West Lim, Oregon would say, I can't let you get close. And he did not let him get close. So if Kleber can't snatch an ankle, if Kleber can't get the body lock, if Kleber is too focused on getting, even maybe cheating to get into the entry, you're cheating to enter the pocket, I should say, to get his entry, there is always a possibility for Suzuki to crack him. because he's that talented as a striker. Him and his brother have stupid power in their strikes. His brother being still a kickboxer and fighting under the RIZIN banner as well. So they fought. He lost to him before. You have to think that he's been working on his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You have to think he's been working on his escapes. You have to think that he's been working on his takedown defense and clinch work. I mean, he's the champion, right? He's the champion, and he's young enough where, like, there's still time to at least add enough where you can dictate where the fight is and defend in those areas to get the fight back where you want it, which is on the feet, which is striking. He's 10 years younger, right? And weight has been an issue for Kleber in the past, right? So it's not like Kleber's getting any better, right? There could maybe be an aggression there. He's always kind of had a doughy frame, but let's be honest, Suzuki is probably the stronger of the two right now, given that he's just in his athletic prime. And, you know, I know looks can be deceiving, but, you know, he looks more athletic. Let's just say that. Whereas Kleber has always been technique over athleticism, and that's proven in him having issues making weight, him really deteriorating himself to make weight almost every time, let's be honest, hit or miss. Whereas Suzuki, from my time watching RIZIN, his time in kickboxing, hasn't really struggled on the scale ever, and always comes in like ready to go, super professional, and has his diet and weight on point. So Kleber's last two wins have been very, very quick. He's 33-7-1. And he obviously beat Suzuki, but because he lost to the scale, you know, he had to forfeit the title, and then he lost actually to Kanehara, which is very, very interesting, right? Since that Suzuki beat Kanehara via KO TKO, and Kleber lost to Kanehara unanimous decision. Since then, though, he beat Saito via Darce choke in the first round. He beat Juan Archuleta via heel hook in the first round. 2 quick finishes. So my thing here, J Wolf, is if Suzuki can push this into the second, maybe even to the third round, fuck, man, he could win the decision. I just think Kleber is not even going to give him that opportunity and risk getting cracked to get that body lock, take him to the ground, get his back. Good night, Jim Kite. So Pitbull was able to overwhelm Kleber with the takedown defense and pressure, and I think that's the game plan that Suzuki has to employ. Yeah, exactly. So I want nothing more than for Suzuki to, like you say, know the assignment and employ that. Nothing ever goes as planned in mixed martial arts there. But having said that, that phrase can also be used for Kleber here, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because there's no guarantee that Kleber's going to just, you know, that Suzuki's going to make a mental mistake and just allow Kleber to get close to even have the opportunity to get the trip takedown or bylock takedown or whatever, right? And I just think that Suzuki is just going to be prepared. He's going to have a game plan. He's going to, I mean, he should know, I mean, any competent camp is going to watch tape on their opponent, right?
Yeah. Well, and he's been there before. They've already trained for him once before too, right?
Exactly. So I mean, look, I just think that, you know, as long as Chihiro goes in there with a solid game plan to keep away from Kleber, obviously stay out of the grappling, obviously, and just eat up those legs with leg kicks, and then, you know, get him into the later rounds. Just stay away from him to the later rounds, eat up those leg kicks, and then go to try to crack him and finish him in the later rounds. And if he does that, I think he's got a really good chance to win. I really believe that, because his grappling has been improving so much. It's really great to see, to be honest with you. And he's just a true kickboxing crossover. I just love it that he just, you know, is doing all this while also being a kickboxing champion and still doing kickboxing, and just, man, he's just, is this the Jay from Rush Hour Fight Club? I forgot to ask him if this is one of his favorite fighters. I'm sure it is, because, you know, Jay, you know, he loves his kickboxers. So, I mean, this guy, Chihiro Suzuki, is just man. Is there any better kickboxing crossover out there right now? I don't think there is, because He's like one of the only ones that's doing both at the same time right now, and he's the only one that's a champion of both at the same time right now.
That's true, because when Alex Pereira was doing both, he was losing in MMA.
Yes. So, exactly.
The UFC fans are gonna hate me in the comments for that one.
No.
But that's just facts.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, hey, but Poetan and Izzy, those are. I mean, I already told you that. I think when we were talking about Ueda and Wonderboy Thompson, all them, and I was bringing up, what about Izzy and Poetan, because they're fantastic fighters as well. So UFC fans don't give Aisha too much shit about that. So, but look, Chihiro. I mean, he's a fantastic champion for RIZIN. I hope he wins here. I just want him to stick to the game plan, because if he does, if he comes in there with a good game plan, and he does not lose mental focus. If he does not lose mental focus, sticks to the game plan, kicks those legs out from under Kleber, I really think Chihiro can do it. I really do.
Yeah.
And that would set up, if he does, I mean, I'm curious what's going to happen afterwards. Is he going to call up Patricio and say, hey, before you sign with the UFC, why don't you come over here and try to get that win back?
Ren is going to throw a water bottle right at his face.
Okay.
And you know what? He's not, and this is it. We're not. This is my prediction, okay? And it's a long shot, but it's not out of the realm of possibility, okay? If he wins and Ren throws a water bottle at them, Chihiro doesn't have to put his belt on the line. You know what belt is going to be on the line, and you know, and you know that Saki Kabara's-san is not going to stand for a freaking time limit on that fight. This is truly going to be as many rounds as it takes. Last man standing motherfucking championship. Ren Hiramoto, Chihiro Suzuki, and it's not going to the ground.
Yes, that
Boom.
is so freaking awesome.
Boom.
Oh my god. I hope that happens. That is so badass.
So we're again. You didn't make your official pick, but I definitely think that it's closer going into this one, given where they are in their careers now. Chihiro Suzuki is plus 160, so we all knew he was going to be the underdog, but it's not that far off. Kleber was minus 150 yesterday. He is minus 200 today. At the time of this recording, we're recording a day before the event, guys. So way closer odds than last time, because I believe Kleber was like pushing minus like 400, 500 last time, if I'm not mistaken. So the odds are seemingly closer. But again, guys, you dive into Kleber's resume and record, it's nothing short of spectacular. Yeah, he only has 2 KO TKOs. He's never been knocked out. 29 submissions, 2 decisions. His losses have come once via submission, funny enough, given that he's the submission, ace. And the rest of his losses have come via decision or disqualification due to the scale, right? So he's durable, but he's 35. He has a lot of miles on him. Is this the Suzuki era? Is the Kleber and Bonsai dominance era over? We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if he loses, it won't be, because also remember Satoshi is also one of the.
No, I know, but I mean like Bonsai dominating in like all the fucking divisions.
Oh, okay. All the divisions you're saying. Yeah. Okay, I see. I got you.
Satoshi's getting up there in H2, and it's not going to last forever, and we always see the beginning. The beginning of the end is always hard to gauge if it's just that. But let's see.
Right.
Let's see.
And you know what? From what you were saying about how Kleber's never been knocked out, you know who else had never been knocked out? Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. And so and Chihiro was the first man to knock out Patricio pound for pound Pitbull.
There you
Could
go.
history repeat itself here?
There you
Another
go.
Brazilian never been knocked out. Could we see that a repeat history here? A shock knockout of someone never been knocked out before.
Dude,
I mean,
I just can't wait for this card, man.
I know.
Well, and Jay and those listening, we fucking did it, man. 23 fights. I'm showing the camera right now. I have 4 pages of notes. So when you watch back this video, you're going to be like, oh my God, you weren't lying. And then highlighted, color coordinated, the whole 9 yards. We got through it, man. This was the longest picks and predictions video, but we had 23 fights, and we wanted to show them all some love. And you know, when Jay and I start talking about RIZIN, we go down the tangents. We treat this more as a podcast versus a picks and predictions show. There's obviously timestamps. Thank you for getting this far. If you did, we really appreciate you guys, whether you click the timestamps or if you just, listened through at work or whatever, because I do know a lot of people are working on this Monday. I know a lot of people might need something to listen to on their way home, preparing for this RIZIN card, getting your bets in last minute. So big shout out to Jay Wolf, as always, for joining. Jay Wolf, this is the best part of RIZIN week. Right? The weigh-ins are fun. The confessions are great. But my favorite part of RIZIN week is linking up with the mighty Jay Wolf to talk, preview, and predict fights for these cards. So thank you as always, man. This was an absolute blast. Next time we'll get your pretty face back on screen, but glad we got to still make this happen. And I started out in radio, so I don't mind the old school radio style here. Before I let you go, sir, where can everybody find you on social media? What stuff do you guys got coming up on Fight Focus and the We Are RIZIN podcast?
Yes, and thank you so much, Aisha. I really appreciate it, brother. I appreciate your audience as well. Appreciate your intro and saying how good looking I am in the picture and stuff. but no, it's really appreciated. It's just, like I was telling you, I look forward to doing these shows almost more than actual, the fights. But I mean, obviously, this time it's, we got 17 plus, superior rule set belts. But I'm telling you, I just absolutely love doing the City Life project. It's so much fun. And thank you for making actual content for the Epic RIZIN. And just, man, it's just, thank you for your passion for the sport, too. It's just so great, Aisha, really. So I can't thank you enough. And to your listeners as well, thank you for listening and joining with us, this sensational Epic RIZIN. It's just, man, it's so fun. This feels like a family, because we're like the hardcores of the hardcore, right? Because it's just, man, it's awesome. So,
it takes tough skin to, especially those out on the East Coast or Central Time like me, starting a card at 11, knowing that it's going to be 13 hours long, and you're still excited for it.
Yeah, it's incredible. You guys, I mean, the East Coasters, it's just, or Eastern Time Zone, I should say, they're just, because you're in Canada, so it's like, but it's just incredible what you guys have to deal with to, staying up to this one is supposed to go till
10 a.m.
Midnight in Japan. That's going to be 10 a.m. Eastern time. That you have to stay up from 11 p.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern. So that's you guys are just the hardcores of the hardcore of the hardcores. You guys are like the hardcores. So and you know what? If you can't, to the audience out there, if you can't stay up, don't worry. Don't even trip. It's called the RIZIN.TV. Stream comes with full replay, and they'll have it posted right up. They just kind of scrub all the copyrighted music and all that stuff, and then they'll post it up right away. So don't even trip. Just just get the RIZIN.TV pay-per-view and watch as much as you can. And if you doze off, don't even trip. Just avoid the spoilers and watch it when you can the next day. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I also want to apologize to your audience too, again, for the technical difficulties, and to you, for these technical difficulties where we had to go old school radio style. We couldn't have video, but it was such an honor and a pleasure to do the show. I look forward to it every single time. And it's all, y'all want to follow me on X. My handle is at JAYYOLF1. It's misspelled on purpose because that was the original screen name I had on the Yahoo message boards 20 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. And because there was like a million other J Wolves at the time on the message board, I didn't want to be like J Wolf, a bunch of numbers and stuff like that. So I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna misspell it, and that's how that came to be. So, but I am gonna hopefully fix the spelling of that in the near future here. So, but still, for right now, just follow me at JAYYOLF1. If you're a real person, I follow back immediately. And also on the RIZIN fans Discord, It's a lot of fun there. We watch the fights live. We personally I like it better than X because it's not public. So we talk a lot of trash, friendly talking trash. Have a good ribbing each other. Talking trash and busting balls and stuff like that with each other. It's a lot of trolling's okay. You can go in there and get troll and stuff, have a good time, trolling and stuff, and it's just so much fun. And so if you want to just check out the RIZIN FF Discord fans. That's what the channel's called. And we actually are just now in that Discord. We have a RIZIN Fantasy League that we just, one of the members, Just Bleed Fan is his name. He made a RIZIN Fantasy game for us, and it starts with this New Year's Eve special. So if you want to get into that, you can just join the RIZIN FF Discord and you can join it's free. The RIZIN Fantasy game is free to play. It doesn't cost any money. It's just for fun. So that'd be something, if you're interested in that, join up. It's a lot of fun there. And of course, right here on the City Life Project, arguably the most fun podcast on the internet from combat sports anywhere. Just shout out to you, Aisha, again. Everybody listening, smash that like and subscribe button. This is so much fun. It's such an honor to be on here every single time. Aisha, just absolutely love it. And thank you so much for letting me come on here and rant with you for hours. And thank you for your listeners for listening. And like we were saying, man, when you love something like we do, the superior rule set and you have to RIZIN, it's easy to talk. We could even go for a couple more hours if we wanted to, because it's just fun. It's not even like it's not like we have to get through it. It's like we want to get through it, and we're having fun getting through it. And we love y'all listening with us and having a good time with us. So just thank you to the audience, thank you, Aisha, and just can't wait to watch these fights with you, man. It's gonna be awesome, brother. I can't wait. So I hope everybody has a great time, stay safe on New Year's, and instead of being out on the highway, staying at home and watch the epic RIZIN with us. It's going to be awesome. So it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Superior rule set, Chevello, Lene Hart, some champagne. Can you ask for anything more?
Yeah, exactly. Curl up with the girl right next to the screen.
There's nothing more romantic than a kick to the face and a little sip of champagne when the clock strikes midnight, baby.
Yeah. You can watch the ball drop on your phone, but keep the fights on the screen.
There you go. All right, man. Well, let's wrap this up. I will give the final word to you, as always.
You know how we always, we're talking about the almighty Pride FC when we say this. And that, of course, is Pride Never Die. Pride is RIZIN. Peace.